It's always a good night for Zelda.
Pretty much.
We should be kicking off in just a bit.
Just hit the buttons.
Yep. At any point, you can always be like, well, this might as well do these now and don't have to dip back later, rather than having them be, at the far end of a long path where you're like, okay, well, when do I want to get these?
Right, and GP at the beginning actually is kind of nice to see, because then as soon as you've got everything you need, you just go right to start and you're good.
Yeah, it definitely makes routing a lot easier, not needing to think about, well, how am I gonna line this up with how I'm gonna route all of these dungeons to make sure that I'm finishing my circuit in a place that's near GP or that can get to GP easily. If it's next to start, you always have that option of up Aing and getting out of there.
Yeah, so sorry guys, they actually couldn't hear you at the start because ZeldaSpeedRuns seems to be having technical problems today. So, like having to constantly refresh things. Sorry, chat, this is a bit of a mess. Audio should be working fine, even if the streams are currently a bit busted.
Well, everyone missed our most insightful comments, because we use those up right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, for sure. We accurately described all of the flags the first time.
And we gave our prophetic predictions for what we were going to see, and all of them will be manifest.
Yep. Looks like first spell available. We're using it to go fast. Definitely my favorite. It's probably one of my top 3, let's say, changes in the new version of the randomizer.
Absolutely.
I love the dash spell.
Me too. I will invest in magic before I even know if it's dash or fire. Like if that's a flag that's up in the air, I will still invest in magic, anticipating that I'm going to get the dash spell and be able to fly around.
Yeah. Not only is it obviously very fun to be zooming around all over the place, everyone likes going fast, but I think it's a real skill tester. There's a lot of rooms where you wouldn't necessarily expect, but jumping can be very tricky to jump in the right spots with dash, and creates a fun learning curve for.
Yeah. And on the other hand, there are actually situations that are far easier with dash. I think of like the lava tiles. When you get into some of those encounters, a lot of the time being able to have that extra momentum and speed gets you through without falling into the lava.
Yeah.
More often than not, I would say.
Oh, and Dr. J taking a risk, making an early dip, and finds one of the few item rooms that do not require a key, picks up the cross.
That's an item. And we did see a pretty early connector to the east, so maybe not the worst pickup. Not necessarily what you want to find as a palace item, but low-level MOAs that are invisible or impossible to deal with.
Yeah, for sure. Ordinarily, I'm not a huge fan of these early palace dips, but I think with the flag on that bosses always drop keys, you always have that bit of greed in the back of your mind, like, well, maybe I could just clear it out while I'm here.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the palace too. Like if it's not something that I know has a ton of drops and not a ton of rooms, that's going to be something I prefer more than anything else. So Palace 1 is automatic for me in a seed like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks from the pillars that this is 3 or 6, and so it could be good or not.
Okay, so apparently this is a radio show now because the picture is going in and out. So I guess we have to do a little less color and a little more play-by-play.
Oh, sorry, I also forgot to mute myself over here. Sorry, hi chat. Yeah, sorry. We've had technical issues all day earlier as well, just with our earlier issue on a remote computer, so on a different computer, and it was having issues. So I don't know what's up. Apologies, chat. Elendar and Chroma, you're gonna have to do extra duty on radio comms because this is not going great. Apologies.
Works for me. Nightshifter and drjayphd are both in the heart container cave, and it was a magic jar, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely not what you're looking for. Even extra life could be good on these early areas, but at the very least, marking it off on your tracker, not having to worry about in the future. That is a really obnoxious looking rock cave. Oh, and almost certainly it looks like
that's boots locked.
Yeah, either boots or hammer locked, depending on whether that's a pass through.
Yeah. Your commentary pages are working now, I hope.
For the most part, there's little moments where it's syncing, but we're getting some continuity at least.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if that's my computer having a fit, because that happens sometimes too. But it seems to be holding up. If you're having issues and I'm having issues, it is the restream and then not me, which is good news because I moved recently. So there's been a couple tech issues.
Yeah.
Well, hashing out the new place with new internet. So
yeah. It looks like for both of our players, they've explored pretty much everything they can on the west, and they're going to have to take this bridge and go over to the east, as Nightshifter has already done, and I suspect Dr. J is going to do in just a second here.
Really low levels still for both runners. I think it's is it 3-1-2 for both? Oh no, 1-2-2 for Nightshifter. That's going to be rough in the early going here. Took a death on his first encounter.
Yeah, I think he thinks he's close enough to the entrance to the east from start here. He's just going to take a reset and give it another shot.
I think that's a good move. I mean, there's always the chance that you run into a palace. Oh wow, yeah. Nightshifter found that grave tile that had the Gurias with the red diorama close to start. That would be a ton of experience if you could manage it, but not at these levels.
Yep. Dr. J seems to have found the path to the caldera as taking a dip into 4. Oh man, the drippers have 150 point blue iron knuckles.
Fantastic find right now, honestly. Like, knowing that the East is your main bet and that you have these low levels, this could be a pretty quick, pretty convenient grind.
Yep. Looks like at attack 3 they were taking 2 hits. I bet at attack 4 it's probably down to 1. Oh, that's unfortunate. Nightshifter checking the exit to the caldera, and unfortunately it is Fairy Cave, so no exit to the rest of the west that way. We're having to go through the east.
I think kind of an unusual choice for Dr. J here. He finished with the Drippers without having leveled up life or magic at all, and was near enough to the start that an up A could have really come in handy. He's on his last life.
Yeah, it's possible that he just figures, he doesn't really want to stick around here too long, and he's just doing a little bit of extra exploration before heading out. Certainly without the fairy spell or magic key, it's a little bit speculative hanging out in dungeons like this, but
yeah.
At the very least, the experience looks good.
He fought the much harder Blue Iron Knuckle to get that experience, but yeah, carrying on the exploration, dealing with a pesky Doom Knocker pretty well there, and Life 4, so far in this seed, they've been pretty squishy. I totally understand that choice.
Nightshifter finding 1 in the east, and definitely with it being a shorter dungeon, perfectly reasonable to at least take a little exploratory dip in.
Yeah, I really hope we do see some key pickups and a one that you can smoothly explore. It's one of my favorite things to find in a seed. And hopefully a really good item, like gloves or boots. Dr. J just found that fairy cave in the caldera. Nightshifter just had on attack 1 kind of an epic battle with an orange iron knuckle, and now is facing a blue one also at attack 1. Turns around, is going back to an elevator room that doesn't have a blue iron knuckle in one of its paths. For now, at least. This is the item room for Nightshifter. And he is blocked there. No key to get the item out of Palace 1, but an easy item to find.
I reloaded. I might be a bit ahead of you. Apologies once again for our technical issues.
I'll reload then.
So Nightshifter continuing his exploration of the east, and oh boy, east leading to Death Mountain, but immediately finds Hammer Cave. That could have been
survive.
Could have been a very difficult troll given Island Death Mountain, but yeah, getting through an attack 1 in the dark can be very scary.
Attack 1, life 2. Sometimes the life will make up for the low attack level, because you can tank a couple of hits and get a couple of extra hits in, but oh wow. Gorillaz are so rough, those boomerangs on life 2. So looks like Dr. J is in Palace 1 now. On the same path that Nightshifter was in before, and much better equipped to fight this blue Iron Knuckle. There is the game over for Nightshifter in that Hammer Cave.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but thankfully not too long of a walk back to the east. These seeds where the seed sort of open. There's an entrance to the east right next to start, and everything opens up immediately. Can be a blessing and a curse. There's lots of available stuff to check, but also, being shoveled into early Death Mountain and East combat on low levels can take a toll.
Right. And definite advantage, at least in terms of being equipped to do that exploration for Dr. J with the 424 levels right now.
For sure. Finding those drippers was very advantageous.
And honestly, not necessarily a risk or a choice that most players would make, I think. Just right place at the right time to find those.
Nightshifter going to find his cross here. Probably not what he was looking for, but he's going to take it. Don't think we've seen too many mower rooms over on the east yet, but
there's a key in Palace 1 for Dr. JPHD.
Don't remember the exact specifics of this routing, but it's possible he might be able to pick the item up here if he routes.
You'd have to go back to start, I believe, to do that. So he's probably on a trajectory to get to Horsehead, where he's going currently.
Yep, definitely. Since Horsehead's guaranteed to drop a key, not going to be a bad option if he gets there. Although I think even if it doesn't drop a key, if you beat Horsehead and you've got a key, you're probably going to use it anyway.
And Dr. J may have just found a loop here. That's what is this room called? The block stairs room? He entered it from below, went right, and now he's appearing on the left.
Yeah, I've not been watching quite closely enough to do an unfortunate Doom Knocker on the Crumble Bridge.
Oof.
It's definitely one of the most unfortunate things mixed enemies can give you as he takes a game over right before a level. Very unfortunate.
Honestly, I think just a little too conservative in the play there. You do kind of have to be aggressive with those tiles crumbling underneath you. Just a slight hesitation you can get through, but he has the key. He is in the item room now. And, maybe that's a fortunate mistake there, because it's possible he wouldn't have explored this direction without it. And shoot, the buffering just made me miss what the item was.
It was a magic jar, unfortunately.
Oh, gosh.
A magic container. I don't know the actual nomenclature. He has increased his max on magic by 1 bar.
All right. I usually call that a magic container. I think the hints do call it a magic jar from time to time.
Ooh, looks like small enemies in dungeons have 500 point P bags in their drop pool, which is another very nice thing. So shouldn't be too difficult to reach a pretty comfortable level here.
Wow. Even on attack level 4, that is a lot of hits for Blue Iron Knuckle.
Yeah, with both attack effectiveness and enemy HP randomized in this flag set, you could sometimes get situations where your attack rolls low and an enemy rolls high, and you're just stabbing at him for 12, 20, 30 hits, and it's like, why isn't this guy dying?
Nightshifter is kind of spinning his wheels right now. Not really sure where to explore, still stuck on those low levels. Heading towards the caldera again. Maybe just totally invested in, what is that, level 4 over there? If that's true, and he does do some exploration, he might find those drippers.
Yeah, I think finding the drippers is probably the best thing that can happen to him right now. He could get out of this sort of slump where your levels are too low to fight anything reasonably and get a lot more power to head back to the east. And he has found the drippers, and looks like he, taking a little bit of a check at them.
All right. Oh, very nice jump. So Dr. J was able to successfully kill the hammer bro on the bridge, and then excellent jump over a blue iron knuckle further in the bridge. Made it through Wah.
Looks like Nightshifter, unfortunately, not deciding to farm those iron knuckles. Decides he'd rather dig further in. And man, these dungeons are not giving our runners any favors.
No. Honestly, pretty difficult enemy sets with pretty high hit point rolls, it looks like.
Not entirely sure if attack 4 is still just... I think attack 3 was definitely weak. Not sure if attack 4 is just weak or just those blue iron knuckles rolled real high.
I think they just really rolled real high. I wasn't counting how many attacks. Oh, here's Horsehead for Dr. J. And rolled low on hit points for Horsehead, actually. Easy. Down goes Horsehead. First gem is placed. It is Dr. J. It is Palace 1. We don't have magic keys yet. We don't have fairy spell. But Dr. J does have attack 5. I'm going to stick around to maybe try to find one more key before exiting here. He is in a key room.
This is my least favorite variant of this dead end room, but he navigates it effectively.
Till the death.
Blue iron knuckles continuing to be jerks.
All right, I'm getting really curious about what the general public is seeing on their streams. It doesn't sound encouraging.
Unfortunately, mostly buffering. How's your commentary pages holding up?
Mostly fine. A little bit of buffer, but
reasonably stable.
Yeah, it's reasonably all right here as well for me, for the most part. The occasional buffer, which, yeah, that's... Hopefully we can get it debugged before the weekend when we get absolutely hammered for it. But yeah, not much I can do on this end here.
Yeah.
Dr. J has entered Death Mountain.
Thanks a lot.
And did quickly find the Hammer Cave, just as Nightshifter did, but much better equipped to actually dig it.
Yeah, 524, he should have no problem making it through unless it's, chock full of red Dyras, which looks like is at least one in that pile.
And meanwhile, Nightshifter is doing a little more eastern exploration. It looks like this is a portion we haven't seen yet, unless I've just missed it. Some kind of... I'm not sure if this is an island biome, but we do have a fair amount of water, some bridges. Looks islandy. I would call that island.
Yeah, definitely looks like islands. And ooh, the look on Dr. J's face, he is not happy game overing there in Death Mountain.
No. And those are manageable levels for that Hammer Cave, but yeah, sometimes the play is to just lure some of those enemies out, not try to force your way through, even if you do have reasonably good levels.
Yeah, definitely by the third attempt, he had gotten the red Dyra sort of pegged into the left wall, but didn't quite get him into that sequence where he stops throwing axes at you against the wall.
That's really too bad. And the down stab makes such a huge difference in those situations. There's so many places where you can lure an enemy out and just throw yourself against the wall so you're not moving left or right, and just not jackhammer but pogo stick to death.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of jackhammering absolutely everything. And through a combination of jackhammers and directed stabs to change your vertical momentum, just sort of stay on top of everything and just repeatedly beat it upside the head.
I mean, if the mechanic is broken, you may as well exploit it.
Yep. I'm a bit sad that I'm sure the jackhammering mechanic is probably unintentional in Zelda 2, but I was a little bit sad when they didn't add jackhammering as a mechanic to Shovel Knight.
Oh. I'm surprised I never got around to playing that.
Yeah, if you
Maybe
like
the day will
Zelda
come.
2, it's definitely carries a lot of the spiritual energy that Zelda 2 has.
Joke's on you, I don't like Zelda 2. Love-hate relationship.
That's a fair assessment.
The drug I can't quit.
Dr. J has found his way to Barba.
Outdoor Barba.
I love all these outdoor Barba rooms.
It just feels right, honestly.
And either Barba's very weak or the difference between attack 5 and attack 4 is huge because he is going down in no time.
Yeah, quite easily those blocks are falling off, but also Barba did roll low on HP. Down to 1 block. Easily handled.
Dr. J deciding to take Magic 3, just take Magic 3, Magic 4 here rather than try and get the big level up for attack 6.
It probably would have been Life 6 realistically.
Yeah, I'm watching his numbers, but should mark
he
that
may
off.
Have been able to, he may have been able to get a couple of, well, I guess in the end he did get a couple of magic levels, so
yeah,
probably doesn't make that big a difference.
Yeah, with only the dash spell under his belt, it's sort of a, well, how much do you want to be dashing? I mean, the answer is generally a lot, but much rather have spells that help you progress through the seed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's starting to look more and more, given the structure of the East, like progression is here in this hammer cave. Dr. J gonna give it another shot. Meanwhile, Nightshifter continuing to explore Palace 1. Starting to get a little bit better experience up to 2-2-3, but getting kind of bodied by this orange iron knuckle. Attack 2 is definitely weak. I think that was almost a dozen slashes to kill an orange iron knuckle.
This is going to be a real uphill battle for Nightshifter until some more levels come into play. Dr. J is making it through Hammer Cave now handily. Yep. It looks like the tracker isn't responding. So apologize for that. Our Hammer Cave item is the trophy.
I don't know if
wow. Sorry, I just watched Nightshifter jump over a blue iron knuckle like it was nothing. Like I'm pretty sure the window for that is like only a frame or two.
I would not be surprised if it were only 1 frame. I frequently just jump over them and take the hit and deal with it, but doing it without getting hit is very tricky. You have to be precise not only with your jump timing, but making sure to hold forward for enough frames to have enough momentum to get over them, but not enough frames that they back up and ruin your jump anyway.
Well, super convenient because that iron knuckle is really in a difficult spot there next to the hammer bro.
Yeah. Really curious now at this point where the logic really wants us to be going. We've only seen the one entrance to Death Mountain, which is just a dead end that leads to Hammer Cave. And the rest of the west is largely inaccessible without fairy spell. So there's got to be another connector in the east, or just a path to an item cave, or something that we've missed.
So our two connectors that we've seen were the bridge to the east and a cave to Death Mountain.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that correct, or was there
That's
another
correct.
one?
So there should still be one more cave.
And that cave could be in Death Mountain.
Well, the problem is the entrance to Death Mountain only had one other cave in it.
It
So
only had the one. Okay.
for the
I
other
haven't
cave to
actually
be in Death,
seen the
yeah,
entrance.
it's possible that the other cave is in Death Mountain, but that would require boots to progress from it.
Yeah. Wow.
So looks like Nightshifter continuing in Palace 1. Dr. J looking around the east some more, going to see if he can find any kind of a path to any sort of progression. It looks like you sort of have to take a pass through and then across a couple Wilson bridges. Dash making a complete joke of those Wilson rooms, but
Love it. And 21's not bad. Magic 4, it's 5 or 6 is when it really starts to go down.
Yeah.
Nightshifter did pick up the item from 1. Hasn't found the path to Horsehead, but did pick up the extra magic container there. PowerPoint presentation of Link.
Wow, it looks like this is just a completely linear path across both Wilson rooms and then both Jeff Bridges, all the way to just a big, what looks like nothing. Oh,
Yeah,
there's the
this
desert
is
tile.
rough.
This has got to be it. This has got to be progression. It's a pea bag. Dr. J making a gesture of disappointment on camera. But he's found the Risen Peabag Cave. I mean, I said before it's got to be a progression, but we're really running out of places that could possibly be progression.
We really are. We really are. What do we got? It's boots!
Yep, and that blows the entire scene wide open.
Yeah, we'll take boots all day.
That gives him access to the rest of Death Mountain, which could potentially be progress. I'm sure way easier navigation on the east, potentially find some more towns, get some spells, hopefully fairy. I think he's gonna.
I think it's likely we'll see fairy spell pretty soon.
Yep. Oh man, Dr. J, with a better memory than us, immediately heading up to this grass tile in the northwest.
Nice. Great move. Now guaranteed to get whatever new Kasuto item is blocked behind magic.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he just takes a round trip around the entire ocean looking for those towns.
Excellent move. Man, that's where we just were. Got there so much easier with the boots.
Yeah, cut a good 5 minutes off the walk.
Yeah, passes the desert tile, passes all the Wilson bridges, doesn't have to do any of that. Nightshifter is making an attempt back into that hammer cave where we found what was it, trophy?
Yep, could potentially be required, could just be disappointment. We still don't know.
And that's, for all intents and purposes, segmented west is preventing us from really knowing too much.
Looks like there's a whole section of the east here behind the boots, leading to the sunken Peabag Cave.
And we've got a couple of towns right nearby too, so I think we're about to see the seed open up a ton for Dr. J.
Yeah, for sure. Fairy spell would be obviously huge. I don't think he'd turn down a reflect spell. Even just something like shield, with how much magic is available early on and how little life.
Well, there's a hammer, so that's one of our blocked caves in the west.
Yeah, given the structure of the west, I'm not entirely sure if that is an item cave or a pass through. I don't know if there might actually be a section of the west south of start. I think maybe not with a caldera. I'm not entirely sure. I'd probably count on it being an item room, but could be progress either way.
There's Old Kasuto, so free spell. Irene is the pun master.
Yep. And not fairy spell, but a required thunder, not going to be unhappy.
No, I mean, you're gonna need it eventually, so it's one less thing to worry about in the seed overall, but it doesn't help your next step.
Yep. Though with 7 bars of magic in Magic 4, almost certainly castable, could at least get him out of a sticky situation.
That's true, and something that's easy to take for granted are some of the opportunities to cast spells like Thunder. Hey, that's a great find. That was another connector to Death Mountain that led straight to Spectacle Rock, except that it's a P-bag. So never mind, it wasn't a great find, but it was a find, and it's one less thing to check off the list.
Yep. Unfortunately, I think Dr. J has at least somewhat compelled to take a check through the rest of those caves at some point looking for the exit to Maze Island. It's definitely going to be a cave, kind of running out of caves on the east. So the most likely thing at this point is either the raft or the second pass-through cave being in that Death Mountain. And it looks like the hammer giving him access to New Kasuto.
And a guaranteed item and spell. He didn't check to see which spell it was.
Yeah, I think at this point he's just happy with any spell.
Yeah. Well, Dash is going to save time picking that up.
Like in an ordinary case, there's a couple of duds, spell being the worst, but definitely already being in New Kasuto, you're not going to be unhappy with a spell here.
And it is fairy.
That is big. That, with the boots and the fairy spell, the world is Dr. J's oyster.
Let's go. 37 minutes in, and we can officially, logically start to explore palaces. Yep. Dr. J has defeated Horsehead and Barba and placed the gems for both.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if he checks this Hammer Cave, clears out any remaining dungeons, and I think he's has both of you done both of the dungeons. I can't remember which continents he's done dungeons in, but I think wouldn't be surprised if it's a straight trip to the Caldera after that.
I thought that Palace 1 was in the east. I'm not sure. I got a clean look at that. We got Medicine Cave behind that hammer block.
Medicine Cave definitely.
Birds.
Yeah, Medicine Cave is, I think, the scariest of the item caves to find early on in the west. But having found it, almost 40 minutes in, Dr. J is going to make very quick work of it.
Solid levels. Yeah, nothing to worry about here.
Yeah, attack 5 looks to be very strong, taking out blue Gurias or orange Gurias in one hit.
Oh, wow. It's a heart.
Nightshifter almost made it through the gauntlet in the east that's going to lead him to his boots and crack the seat open for him.
makes it past the bubble bridge. He's going to get this desert tile and be disappointed by it, and hopefully stick around long enough to find the cave and get those boots. Yeah, keep going. Don't pay. Don't do it.
I forgot that P-Bag was only 200, not 500. 500 points would actually still be pretty good for him right now.
Absolutely. Really, Nightshifter's still in a very difficult spot with levels. On the last life, and with these levers around in the swamp with the bubbles. That's it. That's it. One hit by the lever. He's done. Game over.
Oh, brutal.
All the way back.
Swamp levers are the worst.
That is the spot. Like that's where Nightshifter needs to be. And if he's aware that that's really the only place left, that's really disheartening. If he's not aware, we're gonna see some more wheels just spinning.
Yeah, I think he's gonna head right back there. Dr. J fighting his way through this additional pass-through out in the west. It looks like, I didn't quite see where it went, but it looks like Fairy Cave led pretty much immediately into what appears to be Jump Cave.
Yeah, it's Jump Cave with lots of Mews and bots that are actually kind of wrecking him right now. Yeah, that shield or life spell really would have come in handy in a few of these places. In the final room here, there is a Moa floating around. I would say it's pretty... Yeah, there he goes. There's one of the deaths.
Yeah, I was hoping he would do a trick you can do with the fairy spell. When you've got a lot of magic and you're scared of these dark rooms, casting the fairy spell very briefly lights up the room. And with it being as cheap as it is, you can actually use it as a flashlight pretty effectively.
Times. Yeah. That would have been a nice move. But, oh my god. Dead end at the end of that huge jump cave. And clinging to the experience, walking back through it again.
Yeah. It's probably got to be, especially with the enemies dead, it's got to be faster than... No, he decides he's going to take the reset.
I think that's the move.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the caldera isn't going to be fast, but Jump Cave is also not fast.
Oh. Well, that nightmare of a grave encounter. Easy work now for Dr. J with his current levels. Alright, going back to the caldera. Through Parappa Cave.
Yeah, and having seen Parappa, Fairy, and Jump Cave, pretty much all of the available pass-throughs on the west, I wouldn't be surprised if the remaining area here in the west is pretty much just a tight cluster of all the remaining things.
Yeah, we have two spells on the way, pretty much guaranteed. They both did pick up Bagu, but I mean, you needed the fairy spell to get here anyway, so not gonna have to come across that. We got boots. So if there's medicine in any of these caves, that would be really nice. Get your down stab.
Yeah, for sure.
3 more spells out of the way. That would be really excellent.
Even if he doesn't find medicine, though, I would be shocked if Dr. J doesn't take a trip to go pick up down stab.
Yeah, you got to. That would make a huge difference in this seed. Just even with those buff iron knuckles.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to, especially if you look at the sign and see that it's reflect, and you know you're going to have to eat back later. You hate to do the double dip, but it's so time saving to not have to worry about combat nearly as much.
Well, the trophy just led to a life spell, which, you know, we've mentioned it a couple of times tonight already, that would be convenient, but not necessarily the first thing I would want to find over here.
Yeah, the other concern with the life spell is that the efficacy of the life spell is randomized in this flag set now, so it restores between 1 and 5 bars at random. So how good is it? We'll see in a bit.
And I suppose that also sort of depends how much it costs. It's 51 at Magic 5. And we just saw a usage of it, but Dr. J's life wasn't that low yet. So that remains to be seen. Nightshifter's back in Palace 1, it looks like. Gonna try
That's a
to
shame.
take care of Horsehead.
At the very least, it should be good source of some extra experience.
Assuming he survives, it's still on some really difficult levels there. 2-2-3.
It definitely has not shown itself to be an easy seed.
And Dr. J, did he just pull a heart out of this cave here?
Yep. P-Bag Cave giving him his 7th heart container.
Oh man, Nightshifter just found that hammer room, the hammer bridge that gave Dr. J so much trouble earlier. And game over it in the same spot.
It's definitely unpleasant.
We got a child in Magic Cave.
Yeah, I know they had seen where Durania is, but I don't remember what the spell item, what the available spell there was.
I didn't notice either. Not checking what spell we have in Mido. Dr. J is going to pick up Downstab here.
It's got a nice thumbs up. Very happy to have picked it up.
Yeah. Nightshifter is making the long way around, heading back to the cave where we know the boots are.
Oh.
And took an unfortunate death on the bubble bridge there.
Yep. Still got 2 lives, though, at this point. Should be not too bad.
Dr. J gets the hint for the medicine location is in the maze, which we have not seen yet. We do have a raft tile right here, which at this point, I believe, is guaranteed to take us to that maze island.
I think I don't... Have we seen the second pass-through cave?
I believe we did. It led to the bottom part of
yes.
Death Mountain, where the Spectacle Rock was.
Unfortunately, still no raft.
And these runners' luck, we're going to find it in a palace somewhere. Possibly in Valley of Death.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're definitely starting to get a little short on overworld locations. Oh no. Nightshifter taking a game over in the cave with the boots.
Those eye enemies. Are they called dig doggers?
I don't remember. I always just called them slow eyes.
They can be really rough in that room. They're pretty much guaranteed to be in the path of your sprite in that first area if that's where they show up.
Yeah.
Coconuts, that's right. Thank you, Alan.
It's an excellent name for them. And I missed the spell item out of Saria. Or missed what the spell was out of Saria. Was that Reflector?
That was Fairy, I believe. I'm sorry, not Saria. I was thinking of New Kasuto.
Yeah, he had just gotten the spell in. Sorry, but I missed spell. Okay, thank you, Alan.
Yeah, we might see a New Kasuto revisit pretty soon then.
I would not be surprised if he takes a stop on the way. Because at this point, he's pretty much limited to... I think the only spots left are New Kasuto. I don't know if we've seen the water tile in the east yet.
I definitely have not noticed it, if it has been there.
But yeah, it's those two locations or the dungeons, and definitely already having the boots. I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. J checks both of those places. Still, for sure, needing at the very least the glove and raft.
Eventually, anyway. I mean, there's really no reason not to dig dungeons under the conditions Dr. J's in right now. I guess access would be the only concern.
Yeah.
Are they convenient locations to get to? Where, like, right now he's in New Kasuto going to get the spell tower item, and that, you know, I would like to see a raft as a really good progression item. That's going to give us access to 2 more items in Maze Island, 1 more palace to take down.
Like, Dr. J managed to successfully buffer his magic recovery all the way from the old woman to spell tower.
Dr. J manages to successfully buffer is probably not completely accurate in the restream.
There's certainly no shortage of buffering on either end.
There's the coconut death for Nightshifter. How many more times are we going to hit that coconut?
No, wouldn't be surprised if he, just very patient, manipulating it all the way out.
Comms pages are still looking okay, Star. Little low res, but and occasional synchronizing, but overall pretty good. And it looks like Nightshifter might make it through here and pick up these boots.
One more enemy to get past, and I don't remember what it is.
I just remember Dr. J did a lot of jumping and didn't run into an enemy, so it looks like a bot.
It is in fact a bot, and Nightshifter has acquired his boots. Sure, he's exceedingly happy to see those.
Huge progression item in this seed. Jump spell for our Nabooru Invitational honorary spell. So I guess that means that Reflect has to be, since I didn't see Dr. J check, and I'm not sure, Nightshifter hasn't been there yet, it's either going to be our Mido spell or our Darunia spell.
Yeah, I know Dr. J. I think Dr. J had found Darunia earlier, but I don't think he checked either location, so... Well, that's old Kasuto. I think he's definitely looking for Darunia again. Looks like that desert contains the second palace in the east, so we know no flute requirement this time.
I would do it. It's right there. You can do it. You should do it.
Yeah, for sure. If you're looking for items, need to complete it anyway, you're right there. I'm usually a pretty big proponent of putting off dungeons for as long as makes sense, but now is definitely looking like the time.
Nightshifter just picked it up, the Thunder spell out of Old Kasuto. And there's Darunia.
Dr. J gonna take the detour and pick up Upstab. Definitely worth.
Absolutely. And in a slow seed like this too, differences are going to be so minuscule when you go out of your way to pick up something like this.
Yeah.
Both runners are likely going to basically clear every location in this seed, is what it feels like. Maybe we'll be able to skip some of those dungeon items if we get a convenient way to Maze Island, get our glove. And question I have is this going to be Reflect Spell?
It is
shield.
So we're looking for the medicine.
Looking for that medicine, which we know is in Maze Island, which means we're looking for a raft, which could be in any of these palaces.
Yep. Only one thing left to do now. Get digging.
I might need a snack.
I had made
Maybe a drink.
I had made a second cup of tea for this, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, good call.
I invite everyone in chat to get their own cup of tea. Always helps with a nice race.
Yeah, strap in. I haven't pulled out the romantic fiction yet to express the emotional depth of the experience in the seed. But we might get there. Who knows?
Yep, and it looks like this 2 or 5. I didn't quite see if he had checked it, but it was immediately key blocked. So having the fairy spell, Dr. J now able to not only logically but actually explore this dungeon.
It's really when the game feels like it's beginning. You're placing gems. I'm pretty sure I only actually did story time once, Alan. It was only one time.
Yep. And even the longer scenes here, not quite as bad as I've seen in some other randos. I remember a 4-hour long Z1 rando tournament where one of the players took a 5-minute break in the middle to play some Yoshi's Cookie. just needed to clear his head, get a break, recenter.
Oh, Dr. J just found an item room. Wouldn't you know it? It is the raft.
Yep.
We've got the raft. This seed is open.
Yep. And now knowing that the only needed spell item remaining is on Maze Island, with the last item we are looking for is the glove.
And if you're Dr. J, you really hope that's the other Maze Island item.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. J... Well, I mean, on the one hand, you want to go check that as early as possible, but on the other hand, I'm just remembering that the path to the raft tile is not convenient, so curious whether Dr. J decides to head there after this or head into Death Valley and finish up some of these other palaces.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
You know, you want to try and get those extra chances at your glove, but also, dungeons are here. Got to clear them.
That's true. If you go to Maze Island, you rule out those locations, though, and it can be kind of a pain to get into Valley of Death. So, yeah, we'll see.
Oh. I love this. This is one of the nastiest new community rooms. The Hammer Cave Million Jumps lava room with 2 flying enemies and another strong enemy in the middle. They're like, yeah, that room that was really easy and never really mattered. Let's throw some MOAs or bubbles into it and just knock you into the lava constantly.
If you add a dash of dash spell, then it's really fun.
I would never. I know some runners have been experimenting with the new always dash flag that's available.
I love it. You can always slow down. That's the thing. Like, you're not obligated to hold right or left the entire time you have dash on.
Yeah, I have not done it, but the thought of it terrifies me as much as I love the dash spell.
Now, one that we haven't seen yet, at least in the weeklies or anything, that I'm curious I want to see a dash always on, jump always on, permanent beams.
Yeah.
Something like that. Just superhero mode.
Always dash, always jump makes some seemingly, easy or mundane tasks into absolute nightmares.
Like way harder.
Down stabless Rebodack especially just becomes an absolute nightmare. You're just flying all over the room trying to very precisely stab him in the face while not getting hit by anything else.
That just sounds fun to me. That just sounds really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a certain kind of fun. Well, Dr. J finally casting life with a decent amount of life missing, and it looks like it's at least 4 bars of recovery.
That's a solid life spell.
Yeah,
But less and less relevant. He's got all 8 magic containers in life level 6 with a few more palaces to go yet.
Yeah, by the time he finishes this seed, he's probably going to hit into GP in the neighborhood of 677 or something like that.
Yeah, we've got 4 gems to place. So, assuming there were no extra levels taken, yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what this Guma gives him. Maybe he can snipe an extra one here.
And 4 bars of life gone at life level 6. He's got that shield spell. I'm surprised that he's not going for it. Because I think he's already thrown 5 or 6 stabs in, and we haven't seen a single bar go down until just now.
Looks like he had exactly enough for a life cast and figured he'd rather use that. Don't know the math on whether that makes sense or not.
Yeah, I think it works out just fine either way.
Yeah. He would need 1,000 points here, which I think is only a +1, or is that a +2?
Well, didn't get it. Went for the skip. I'm not going to fault him on that decision.
Yeah.
Might be a little tricky to get enough experience from this room. There's the chance he could have got the P bag at the end of it. We'll see if he opts for that. Gonna try to just kill the Moa in the meantime, then go back and place that gem.
Moa, unfortunately, resistant to a single upstab.
Yeah, we're 1 hour in. Nightshifter has yet to place a gem. Dr. J just placed his 3rd gem, having gotten rid of some of the more difficult palaces and bosses already, and has almost all of the progression items that has the progression items, I suppose. It's some of the key items that we need. The glove, and has access to the medicine, which is going to give us reflect. And then he's good to go. Nightshifter, for all practical purposes, is really just beginning this seed. He's seen most of the overworld map, so knows where many of the locations are, but doesn't have access through levels or through items to do much of anything. Quick reminder dip into Jump Cave for Dr. J there, and a nice look of, oh yeah, that cave's pointless.
Yep. Yeah, it's difficult sometimes to remember exactly which transit cave is which after you spend 20 or 30 minutes in dungeons.
Mm-hmm. Feels like it was a different day or week when you were there. So Dr. J is headed back west now. I suppose gonna do some dungeoning. We have one more over here on this portion.
Yep.
Counted for.
Yeah, there's one more dungeon here, and then also the raft tile is over on the coast here. So I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to do Maze Island first, given that we already know it's a dead end, and then just backtrack, having picked up the spell item.
I had it in my head the raft tile was in the east, but looks like it is on the west. Little more progression for Nightshifter, just picked up the hammer.
And we do know that is required.
And Dr. J is on Maze Island. Taking the time to kill a Scorpion Max.
Deciding way to... Oh! I like this. I like that thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good use of that red jar. Looks like he was very slightly short of being able to cast it before he picked up the jar. Maybe one or two magic points off.
Went for the stab cast. Potentially kind of an annoying maze here without the river going through a central part of it. Everything seems to be up towards the top water-wise, and that's also where the palace is.
Yeah, depending on how the river is set up, one of the things you can do on maps like this that you know is dead ends is instead of going straight into the maze from the raft tile, a lot of the time the way the terrain is laid out, you can take a left and just go in a loop around Maze Island on the water on the outside, and as long as the river connects somewhere in there, you can sort of bypass a good portion. Given that he knows he needs one item in here and is definitely going to dig out the second one, I don't blame him for just taking this exhaustive approach.
Absolutely not.
Check every tile you can, look for everything. Don't want to risk having to double dip back, being like, where did I check? Where did I not check?
And there's really no way he can be aware of how secure he is in the run right now. So really any amount of steady exploration here is not going to be a detriment.
Yeah, it's always difficult on these long seeds where it's like, man, it took me a really long time to find those boots. It's like, did Nightshifter also take the really long time? Did I? It's you think I could be way behind or way ahead.
Especially if there's mistakes you're very aware of along the way, because we can really amplify those, and they're not always as significant as they seem.
Oh man, looks like the river all the way on the far north end.
Not even a river.
Completely useless.
That's a high tide.
Just an awkward brick sticking on the end there.
There's the medicine.
Yeah.
Nice fist pump from Dr. J.
And he is going to continue on and look for that second item, which he finds right away.
Oh, excellent. And if this is glove, we are all the way in go mode. It's the any key.
Yeah, not at Magic 6-7 containers, not going to be that useful, but not bad to have.
It's just one less thing to worry about. You don't have to manage your magic as carefully.
But I think we're definitely going to see Dr. J full clear this and all other remaining dungeons.
Well, depending on what we find inside, if this is the hammer right away, then, or not the hammer, the glove, then no reason to do that anywhere else. But until we find the glove, every item from every dungeon needs to be found.
Yeah, not technically hard required, but high 90% of seeds
needs to be found.
Yeah, I did actually have a not glove required seed in one of my practices this week.
Wow.
But of course, that was the seed where the glove was the first item I found less than a minute in.
Sure. This is brackets.
Yeah, I was doing bracket practice, but I've had a couple recently seeds where everything is really, really trolly, and then GP is 4 or 5 rooms long.
Yeah.
You look at your splits,
Or
and you're
vice
like,
versa.
you're like minus 15, you beat GP. It's like, or you're plus 15 and you beat GP, and you're minus 2. And you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Nightshifter continuing to get all of the things that those boots give you, which unfortunately so far just a bunch of safety items.
Yeah, you have to do it though. You have to take the items that are there that are available to you that you can get. Just the way the seed is laid out, it would be really hard not to pick up these superfluous things.
Yeah, I think any natural routing is probably going to be pretty close to full clearing this seed. Just all the good items were unfortunately in awkward spots.
Quick work at Palace 2. Dr. J has killed Helmet Head. And we do still need to pull an item out of here. 4 down, 4 gems placed for Dr. J. To Nightshifter's 0 still. Couple of valiant attempts at getting through Palace 1, but there really were some tricky rooms in there that would be, without downstab and on low levels, provide quite a challenge. So Dr. J working through one of these courtyard bridge type places. These always remind me of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, they
or
do.
just Castlevania in general.
They do definitely have that vibe. It was like the clouds below the bridge, giving the indication that the bridge is much higher.
Yeah. The details.
Subtle stuff that you can do to give perspective without actually adding more assets to the game are always really impressive. I'm always amazed when I look at the deep technical details of how they saved memory back in the NES days.
Right. I'm amazed that people can find new creative ways still to do that. You know, some of these, I mean, that there was a custom room, that open air bridge area. Shook the buffering pom-poms.
I think one of my... Sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say the same. Nightshifter picks up the trophy, giving access to, I believe, life spell?
I think so. I don't think he's going to be unhappy with that, given the combat difficulties he's had so far.
No. I mean, maybe disappointing if you feel like you're really starting to exhaust your options,
But as I say, I think my favorite story of clever reuse of existing resources to save on ROM space is that the clouds and the bushes in Mario 1 are the same image.
Mm-hmm.
Just do some on-the-fly recolors for different sections of the screen, and you can save a whole bunch of memory, reducing the assets. Definitely, considering this came from the FDS, where literally disk space was even more of a premium.
Dr. J's celebration after finding the candle in Palace 2.
Definitely would have been a nice item earlier with how many nasty dark caves we had. I'm pretty sure that he's well past that point, but even even just no longer having to be in that dungeon is a victory.
Yeah. 2 palaces remaining. 2 items remaining. What's the over-under on the next palace item being the flute?
I'd have to put it somewhere near about 85%.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a certified star seed, so
It is shaping up to be one for sure.
Dr. J gonna take the trip back, pick up his reflect spell now. We're still missing one magic container as well. Did we ever find the water tile?
I don't believe that ever came up.
Somewhat surprising given the layout of the terrain in the east and also the boots.
If I had to guess, I would say somewhere in the like middle northern area.
Yeah,
But
that
just because I
can
feel like I've seen the other places more.
yeah that can definitely be the case when you do a bunch of ground exploration and then you get to boots. Your immediate reaction is, well, let me check the whole perimeter, and it's very easy to accidentally miss some completely boots locked location hiding in plain sight in the middle of the map.
I feel like it's every single island biome that I get. There's a location that I have to go around the entire place 3 times before I find it.
Yeah.
Or I found it on my first try and then had to remember it later on, and there was no way.
Yeah, I'm always curious to find out how much different players track. I know there's a lot of useful tracking tools and even, old school pencil and paper tracking, but it's with V4, I feel like a lot of people are changing up how they keep track of everything, just because it's potentially a lot more complicated of logic on the overworld a lot of the time.
It's interesting. I haven't even considered making a map in a long time, but with the right biome, that really could make a difference.
Yeah, what I've started doing with V4 is, I used to never map the overworld. What I've started doing is not necessarily drawing a map, but like marking down approximate relative locations of things I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that you need to remember.
Right, like here's New Kasuto. It's approximately in the center west side of the east. I'll plop that down on the map. But you never know, especially with islands. I've seen, as Dr. J puts down his 5th gem here, I've seen some islands where everything looks like you can tell it's island, but everything looks fairly connected and you think you've got a good handle on it. And then there's a whole section so far to the south, there's no way you could have possibly seen it. That was just hiding boots blocked in plain sight.
Yeah. Ooh. Dr. J. Oh, is boots blocked in that direction? That's why. Okay. Nightshifter has made it through, has defeated Horsehead, and is placing his 1st gem.
Forgive me, having a little bit of buffering issues here, but curious with Nightshifter re-exploring the east here, whether we're going to see sign of that water tile. Actually, I hadn't even thought of this. If we've pretty exhaustively searched the east, one thing that I forgot is a possibility in V4. The water tile can be under Three-Eyed Rock.
That's true.
It's
That's
possible
true.
that our flute is still required.
And that our flute is glove blocked. That is possible as well. Oh, Alan says not in these flags. Okay.
Oh. Well, the water tile's got to be hiding somewhere. Oh, and these flags, 3 eyes to palace. Thanks, Alan. Curious, it's could be hiding somewhere in this mess of a Death Valley containment area.
More Palace 4 exploration here, trying to find that item for Dr. J, hoping that it isn't boots blocked. But then again, if it is, that does narrow down stuff. Good on him for actually checking this Minecraft room, finding the exit on the other end.
Yeah, the way to tell that one apart from the dead end versions of that room is there'll be 2 enemies right off the bat, one on each step. And if you see that configuration versus either a single enemy up at the top or just the flying enemy, you can tell for sure that you have found the non-dead end version of the room.
Yeah, and there are many more enemies along the way too. It's a pretty full room.
Yeah, like all community rooms, at least 2 or 3 more enemies than there probably needed to be. This 4 looking like quite the maze. I know in 3.0, 4 tended to be a little bit easier just because there were so many required drop rooms that all had to be connected, to each other or drop dead ends. That the whole layout tended to compact itself sort of vertically around those drop rooms, but without that, common corridor of all the drop rooms, Palace 4 and 4.0 is definitely can be a lot more mazy. But with all these life and magic levels, Dr. J is just tanking his way through all of these problems.
Finding every room in Palace 4 here, but the item room.
Just looks like just an unfortunate, first you go left, then you go left. And once you're done with that, you should probably go left again.
Life spell pickup for Nightshifter, cashing in the trophy. Slowly whittling away the possible locations. And now we've got our item. It's the flute!
As expected. I mean, it had to be.
It had to be. It absolutely had to be.
And Dr. J gonna beeline it to 3.
Spell pickup for Nightshifter. More nonsense. Gonna be the long haul for sure.
Yep. Thankfully, only so many locations that could possibly be remaining. If Dr. J goes to 3 and we find out that the glove is in the water tile, I am really curious where it ends up being.
Yeah.
Also curious whether Dr. J at that point would take the gamble and go into GP without. I don't like the idea, but at a certain point, it's like, well, yeah, we have seen everything but the item in 3 and the water tile, and no sign whatsoever of where that water tile is.
But it looks like we are going to 3 right now, so we will know very shortly what the rest of this seed holds.
Here's hoping that 3 bucks the trend of the rest of the dungeons and is a little bit kinder to our runners.
Honestly, at this point, I agree. No, normally I would like to see there is some satisfaction in seeing it completely filled, you know? Like we did everything. Absolutely everything. Like all but one thing isn't as satisfying. See everything, yeah. Hear about the fact that everything might be happening.
Dr. J taking his time, conserving his resources, and making it through Death Valley, doing the encounter skips versus any kind of fairy strats. Definitely a safe, effective approach.
Yeah. Nightshifter picked up downstab. And Dr. J is in.
Oh, and what a lovely pink color it is.
I find it delightful. That's the color my hair is going to be next week.
I love it.
At least half of it, anyway. It's like
half
roots.
I'd look at this kindness. One room in from the fork, and we found the boss.
That is nice. Too bad the item is almost more valuable at this point than the boss.
Yep. Definitely happy to see one, but the journey is far from over.
Successful cheese ends Rebanak. And final gem going to be placed here for Dr. J.
And for how trolly this is, placing the final gem at 126, not actually that bad.
It really isn't. It's just the seed has felt so unkind that, yeah, it's felt harder than that.
Yeah. Dr. J hitting his final level here, 6, 7, 8. It's a glove block. Oh boy.
Was there a way to go left?
There was a left from this first room down the elevator. Dr. J gonna check it out. I don't think there's any chance. I don't think there's any chance Dr. J is gonna leave the dungeon without fully exploring every available room.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I would absolutely love to see a water tile troll here.
Water tile hidden in water.
Shouldn't be possible, but oh man, is that a loop? I don't think it's a loop. I think is it 2 identical rooms? Oh wow, yeah, I think it's a loop. Dr. J abandoning the dungeon.
It might not have been.
Yeah, I don't know. I know there's
if the enemies were the same, you know, like it could
I think
just
you have
be a
to check it, but
coincidence. You have to.
he seems convinced.
Let's find that water tile. Show me the water tile.
Nightshifter hopping into Palace 4. I may have missed whether he picked up the Reflect spell. I don't think so, because he would have had to go to Maze Island to do that. Maybe he's...
Yeah, that's a long ways off still. Looking for an item.
So I think we're going to see world's most complete exploration of the East here now. Check every space, every area. Make sure you didn't miss something.
So far, just familiar locations.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if there's just some small island off in a corner somewhere. Oh, there it is.
Which is odd, because that really was around the perimeter. That was up right near the top.
I don't know, but we have found our glove. And
because we basically found everything.
Yep. 1 hour or 30 minutes and roughly 30 seconds, drjayphd is in go mode.
And right next to our GP, as we had referenced in the beginning.
And I think with 6, 7, 8, every spell, every item, Dr. J is probably going to make short work of this GP.
Dash.
Oh.
Good catch.
Yeah, good fair to avert the lava bath. The troll kingbot right at the start of that room.
Just getting slammed up front here. Fortunately, not heavy hitters so much like the blue Bird Knight there.
Yeah, life 8, nothing's really putting a dent in him.
Well, Thunderbird, the only option moving forward, which means, we just saw a little grimace from Dr. J there. He had just enough magic to cast Thunder, but knows that because this was a direct path, the entirety of GP is going to be behind it.
Yep.
So who knows?
Definitely
how quickly we're going to find that Dark Link.
Possibility for some equalization.
Slightly different strategy here, looks like. Not really a pendulum, kind of a circle.
Yeah. Making some pretty effective dodges.
That was almost more traditional there. Ooh, takes the death.
Thankfully, Thunder fairly cheap at Magic 7. He'll be able to apply Thunder and then also use a number of safeties here. Deciding against the shield spell. Not sure. I don't know exactly how the math on the shield spell works at extremely high life levels, whether that's effective here or not, but
I thought it was just 50%.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like any weird integer math going on. Yeah, okay. Deciding to cast shield because even at Magic 7, life's still 51.
Yeah, that's rough. It was a pretty effective life spell, but yeah, that becomes less viable unless you have a red jar drop.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Dr. J successfully taking down Thunderbird, but I was saying, unfortunately, in order to be able to cast Thunder and also a cast of life, he would need to have the full 8 magic containers, which he doesn't have. because the remaining magic container is glove locked in 3. When you get all but one item, the seed is gonna stick it to you that you don't have it.
Ooh, Dr. J was very patient there, letting some of those early enemies clear out, and then got sniped by that last bird knight jumping through. This is a pretty tough lava room as well, in addition to the one you were referencing earlier.
Yeah. Thankfully, oh man, the bird knights being real jerks. Dr. J using a good strategy, take it very slow.
We get a 1-up here. Yeah, that's a timely 1-up.
Always nice when you get the 1-up there instead of I don't know if it can roll on the other small items. I don't know how the seeds interact here, but
I think the only other room where you see that is the one on the left.
yeah,
The vanilla one.
we've seen a fork, and it's a fairy required fork. Thankfully, just a one-way fairy required, so if he dead ends, he'll be able to save a little bit of magic, but all right, we definitely hit the all forks all the time section of GP when you get an early Thunderbird. Got to keep 5 or 6 different potential paths in your head, and any one of them could be Dark Link one room in.
Yeah, it really can.
And finally, some confirmation that life is, in fact, the full 5 bars, it looks like.
I would like to think that explains the cost, but I don't believe it works that way.
Nope. The seed, unfortunately, here it looks like it's a seed giveth, seed taketh away thing. And it's certainly taken quite a bit away. As Dr. J continues to progress here through this GP, how do you feel about this drab olive green color?
I'm fond of it, actually. It's kind of mossy.
Yeah, I don't know if GP has a different color palette set than the rest of the dungeons, but definitely feels like it sometimes. Maybe it's just the different ambience that it has.
Yeah.
All the lava
feels
running
like
around.
A porous temple a little bit, but for the lava. Or maybe it's malachite.
King bots right over lava pits are just like the greatest.
Survived.
And yet more forks is his reward. And I think this 4-way junction here is a loop that he's found. Choosing to take the top path. I think he came up from below and went right before, so this is the last bit of that junction. And that was the right path. Here is Dark Link.
Excellent. Sorry, I'm digging his gestures. I don't know. That's probably not showing up on the restream, but
I love it. I love the hand gestures.
Very communicative. Doing the crouch cheese strats here. Gonna play it safe. Finish off this seed in 139 and a little bit of change. Dr. J PhD is the victor of this round 1 matchup versus Nightshifter, and he will move forward in the NIT.
Taking a quick look at the brackets here, and it looks like with Dr. J's victory, he will go on to face Paratrooper 1 in the next round.
That'll be one to tune into. And let's see if he'll be joining us here. Yet to receive confirmation on that. And with that, it looks like Nightshifter has officially just forfeited the race, which I 100% understand, 100% being the operative word there.
I appreciate that. It's certainly a difficult scene.
For sure. For sure. And we didn't get a true 100% clear without that extra magic container, but wow. If that wasn't moderately brutal.
Yeah, definitely the long trek to the boots in the beginning was, I think, the most trolly bit. Like every part of you wants to explore different areas and do different things, and the right answer being just to grit your teeth and find the boots. Looks like we've got our runners here. GG.
Yeah, GG, Dr. J.
Thank you.
Yeah, well patiently run race. Patience was definitely key in this. With as many twists and hard required things and just so many items in your way that you didn't need, but they were there. So you just had no choice but to narrow it down.
That just felt like a really awful seed for so long.
Oh yeah, just trying to get out of that opening area too, with no candle and no chance of it till you get to Maze Island. That was just unnecessary.
I didn't even find Maze Island.
Well, it was a late find because the raft was hard required. It was in a dungeon, and it would have required, it would have taken some doing to get to that point.
Okay, I had just picked up the raft before I threw in the towel.
Yeah, and then the raft spot was that cave, the fairy cave.
Yep, on the complete other side. Yeah.
Yep.
I found that when I finally said, okay, I just need to explore some and see if I can't find something.
Yeah, and then over there was all the other towns, including Reflect, which you had to go to Maze Island to get, and then come back. Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting seed.
Would we expect anything less from Zelda 2 Random?
Would you expect anything less from a star-rolled seed?
It's a star-rolled seed. I thought you might want to know, Nightshifter, that Dr. J did basically full clear the seed to get everything needed to complete it. So, I
felt
totally
like
respect the forfeit.
It felt like it was going to just be a long, long seed, because there was no real good place to grind up experience. There was no good place to get anything. Everything was in the dark.
Yeah, and as satisfying as it could have been to, say, grind off of those blue dark nuts by one-shotting them. Not dark nuts. Iron knuckles. Wrong game. Yeah.
Close enough.
It's still too dangerous to do that.
Yeah.
It was actually really useful for you, Dr. J, though. That's kind of when you pulled ahead in levels. Just getting the amount you did right there gave you enough attack that things did take kind of a turn there in terms of momentum. Nightshifter was on levels 1 and 2 for a while, and I think that was one of the things that made it particularly difficult in the beginning.
Yeah, my levels were definitely gatekeeping me.
Yeah,
But it's hard to like find where is that ideal grind spot, and I think the drippers were as good as anything you could have found for sure.
pretty much, yeah.
Well, I am still new to the standard level of play, and this was just, it felt a little overwhelming at points.
Definitely on the harder side as these seeds go, for sure. Man, what else was tricky about this? The fairy spell it was a long time before that was found. Dr. J was able to finish a couple of palaces without it. But yeah, by the time that actually came around, a lot of the other stuff wasn't in place yet. It was just very closed off in so many ways. Dr. J, can you tell us about finding that water tile?
Yeah, that was... I just hadn't really thought about it much, and also kind of forgot to mark the desert tile as well, because even though I had seen it and it was just like a teabag. And then once I go into 3, it's just like, alright, well, it's a 50-50 shot, I have to go into this palace anyways. And pretty much realized as soon as I saw blocks breaking right after the boss, and then nothing to the left, it's just like, well, okay, now I gotta go. Hope I get lucky. And just trying to think of everywhere I haven't been on the East Coast.
Yeah, we were confused about the location ourselves, not doing any like hard mapping or anything. It felt like, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen most of it. We never did see that water tile, did we?
Nope. It was
I never found it.
Northeast corner. There's nothing else there.
It's interesting because finding that could have made a pretty significant difference in the routing of the race, I feel like, but it just, sometimes the locations just go so contrary to like the average instinct where, I was lost, Elendar was lost, Nightshifter was lost, you were lost. Like,
I'm just glad we were all lost together.
We were all lost.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where the water was. Yeah, that's how this one went. And any other thoughts that you guys have, like stuff we haven't mentioned that you found noteworthy about this seed, or that you want to comment on?
Found a whole lot of magic containers early with no real spells to cast.
Yep. That was... I don't even remember what it was that just broke the seal on there, but then you just got a bunch of them, but nothing early.
And then
Well, dang.
the prices of the spells were just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I had Magic 7 and life was still 51 points.
What? Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
It did restore its full value. Unfortunately, that doesn't correspond to the amount that it costs to cast it necessarily, but yeah, that was rough. And in a lot of those early levels, that life spell would have come in handy, but also with trophy from the Hammer Cave, like, was not really accessible for a long time.
Yeah, and Fairy being hammer block too.
Yeah.
Just the sheer number of things we've commented on already that were kind of backwards extra steps that you had to take in this. They're in many ways the worst of what the randomizer itself has to offer, unless you enjoy the backtracking and the the suffering of those who are going through it, which I only enjoy a little bit. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I mean, not particularly on my part. That's just...
Yeah, that was just rough. I might go on and complete that seed at another time, but yikes.
I'd
Basically.
fire up another one, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
just fire up another one.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
Oh, those are dangerous words.
We've seen some bad stuff here, but
But,
all in all, 139.04 finish for this seed is really quite admirable. Yeah, congratulations again. Really well
Thanks.
done.
Yeah, congratulations, Dr. J, and good luck in the second round.
I'm going to need it. Paratrooper's really good. I'm really surprised she fell to this one.
I think it's going to be a good matchup between the two of you. I think it should be an interesting match to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully not in PowerPoint mode. You guys probably weren't as conscious of what we were seeing, what we were dealing with, but
oh no.
In the comms it was clean, but grainy but clean. But I'm sure that'll get worked out.
Yeah, the ZSR restream machine, the backend, unfortunately, was not cooperating tonight. And fortunately, we had a lot of buffering on restream, so apologies if you walked it back. It's more or less radio mode.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
So I don't have to blame my Wi-Fi. Okay.
No, you guys are fine. It was just the backend got screwy, so we should hopefully get that sorted out soon. GG's, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Star. You really rolled a good one.
It's my specialty. Yeah, any last thoughts from any of you guys?
You did it again.
Just from here on out, I'm gonna have the enjoyment of being on the commentary side. I've really gotten into it of late, and I really enjoyed it. So
awesome.
Yeah. And good luck next round, Dr. J.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that'll be about it for us tonight. Let's shout out to our two runners, Dr. J and Nightshifter, putting up a great race on a rather horrendous seed. And to our two commentators, Chromaticalism and Elendar, for keeping us entertained even if the video itself got a little screwy. Thanks to everyone in chat as well for watching. So, coming up on the ZSR schedule, we have let's see, we have coming up on the schedule a whole bunch of things. Tomorrow's a relatively quiet day, actually, but it's, I think I know, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow's actually, no, I got lost track. Today, I suppose I can clean out, because it's past midnight Eastern, at least for me. We start off the day with the Link's Awakening DX, 80% no wrong with advanced tournament match between Xander, TJE, and Astronomus. We've got a whole bunch of other things going on tomorrow. What exactly is going to be featured has yet to be decided, because we have, I think we have like 7 different races at between noon and 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. There's a lot of overlap. So what will be put on will vary. But we should, hopefully, perhaps, be able to get a Zelda 2 Randomizer Z2R match on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, between Chroma and Artea, winners round 1. In the main brackets, just keep an eye on the schedule and follow the ZSR channel, ZeldaSpeedRuns Main, ZeldaSpeedRuns 2, ZeldaSpeedRuns_3, and ZeldaSpeedRuns_4 if you want more Zelda action, since we've got a lot of stuff coming up this weekend. You'll want to keep an eye out to see what actually gets featured, and good luck to you as well, Chroma.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much.
And that'll be it for us tonight. We're going to go over and say hello to Kola Osu. So, the Ocarina of Time Randomizer community recently will be having a co-op tournament starting up soon. So, Kola's currently doing some practice with his partner Gavaroti, so let's see how the two of them are doing with that. And Kola's night. Thanks for watching, one.
Good night.